Hello, good morning. Today I will read about the story of Samavati. Today I will read only one story because this story is a little bit long. So I will read about two stories like as before. The story of Samavati. While residing at the Kausita monastery near Kausambi, the Buddha uttered verses 21, 22, 23 of this book with reference to Samavati, one of the chief queens of Udena, king of Kosambi. Samavati had 500 maids of honor staying with her at the palace. She also had a maid servant called Kojodara. The maid had to buy flowers for Samavati, run the for florist Sumana every day. On one occasion, Kojodara had the opportunity to listen to a religious discourses delivered by the Buddha at the home of Sumana, and she attained She attained Sodavati fruition. She repeated the discourses of the Buddha to Samavati and the 500 maids of honor, and they also attained Sodavati fruition. From that day, Kojodara did not have to do any manual work, but took the place of mother and a teacher to Samavati. She listened to the discourses of the Buddha and repeated them to Samavati and her maids. In course of time, Kojodara mastered the Tipitaka. Samavati and her maids wished very much to see the Buddha and pay obeisance to him, but they were afraid the king might be displeased with them, so making holes in the walls of their palace. They looked through them and paid obeisance to the Buddha every day as he was going to the house of the three rich men, namely Kausaka, Kakuta, and Pawariya. At the time, King Udina had also another chief queen by the name of Magandiya. She was the daughter of Magandiya, a Brahmin. The Brahmin, seeing the Buddha one day, thought the Buddha was the only person who was worthy of his very beautiful daughter. So he hurriedly went off to fetch his wife and daughter and offered to give his daughter in marriage to the Buddha. Turning down his offer, the Buddha said, even after seeing Dana, Arati, and Raga, the daughters of Mara, I felt no desire in me for sensual pleasures. After all, what is this which is full of urine and filth, and which I don't like to touch even with my foot? On hearing those words of the Buddha, both the Brahmin and his wife attained Anagami Magga and Phla. They instructed their daughter to the care of her uncle and themselves enjoined the order. Eventually, they attained Radhaship. The Buddha knew from the beginning that the Brahmin and his wife were destined to attain Nagami fruition that very day. Hence, his replying to the Brahmin in the above manner. However, the daughter Magandiya became very bitter and sore, and she vowed to take revenge if and when an opportunity arose. Later, her uncle presented Magandiya to King Udina, and she became one of his chief queens. Magandiya came to learn about the arrival of the Buddha in Kosambi and about how Samavati and her maids pay obeisance to him through holes in the walls of their living quarters. So She planned to take her revenge on the Buddha and to harm Samavati and her maids who were ardent devotees of the Buddha. Magandiya told the king that Samavati and her maids had made holes in the walls of their living quarters, and that they had outside contests and were disloyal to the king. King Udina saw the holes in the walls, but when the truth was true, he did not get angry. But Magandiya kept on trying to make the king believe Samavati was not loyal to him and was trying to kill him. On one question, knowing that the king would be visiting Samavati within the next few days, and that he would be taking along his lute with him, Magandiya inserted a snake into the lute and closed the hole with a bunch of flowers. Magandiya followed King Udena to Samavati quarters after trying to stop him on the pretext that she had some presentiment and felt worried about his safety. At Samavati's palace, Magandiya removed the bunch of flowers from the hole of the lute. The snake came out hissing and coiled itself on the bed. When the king saw the snake, he believed Magandiya's was that Samavati was trying to kill him. The king was furious. He commanded Samavati to stand and all her ladies to line up behind her. Then he lifted his bow with an arrow dipped in poison and shot the arrow. But Samavati and her ladies bore no ill will towards the king, and through the power of goodwill, the arrow turned back. Although an arrow shot by the king usually won't even through a rock. Then the king realized the innocence of Samavati, and he gave her permission to invite the Buddha and his disciples to the palace for alms food and for delivering discourses. Magandiya, realizing that none of her plans had must materialize, made a final infallible plan. She sent a message to her uncle with the full instruction to go to Samadhi's palace and burn down the building with all women inside. As the house was burning, Samavati and her maids of honor, numbering 500, kept to meditating. Thus, some of them attained Sagadagami fruition, and the rest attained Anagami fruition. As the news of the fire spread, the king rushed to the scene, but it was too late. He suspected that it was done at the instigation of Magandiya, but he did not show that he was suspicious. Instead, he said, while Samavati was alive, I had been fearful and alike thinking I might feel harmed by her. Only now my mind is at peace. Who could have done this? It must have been done by the someone who loves me very dearly. Hearing this, Magandiya proudly admitted that it was she who had instructed her uncle to do it. Whereupon the king pretended to be very pleased with her and said that he would do her a great favor and honor all her relatives. So the relatives were sent for and they came greatly. On arrival at the palace, all of them, including Magandia, were seated and burned in the palace courtyard by the order of the king. When the Buddha was told about these two incidents, he said that those who are mindful do not die, but those who are negligent are as good as dead even while living. Then the Buddha spoke in verse as follows: mindfulness is the way to the deathless nibbana, and mindfulness is the way to death. Those who are mindful do not die. Those who are not mindful are as if already dead. Fully comprehending this, the wise who are mindful rejoice in being mindful and find delight in the domain of the noble ones, Ariyas. The wise, constantly cultivating tranquility and insight development practice, being ever mindful and steadfastly striving, realize Nibbana. Nibbana, which is free from the bounds of yoga. Nibbana, the incomparable. That's all. Today I read only one story. The story is very interesting. Um, Very good to take a lesson from this story. You see, mindfulness is the way to deathless, and mindfulness is the way to death. So, how mindfulness is important in our life in every day. So, you also should get mindfulness in every day in your life, because mindfulness is the way to deathless, and mindfulness is the way to death. Thank you all for your listening today.